Let's be honest. None of us want to have, at least for the most part, the conversation about what's going to happen when we die. That's not a pleasant conversation. It's not one that most of my clients want to have. And to be honest, it's one that most of my clients have been putting off for months, years, couple decades, right? I mean, I'll have clients where their children will be, in their 30s and 40s, and they'll say, "Oh, we really wanted to do this when we had the kids 30 or 40 years ago and didn't get it done," right? And that's very common. Don't feel bad about that. Again, it's not a pleasant conversation, but it's one that we need to have because we know that that's going to happen at some point, right? Hopefully later rather than sooner. But we know it is a certainty of life. And let's talk about a directive for remains, what it is, how to use it, why you'd want one, and how it would be helpful to your estate. So the directive for remains really is just that. It gives your family, whoever you've named, your loved ones, a direction as to how you want your remains handled upon your passing. So it can be something, this isn't complex, it's a simple document. And it can outline, what your wishes are. There's a wide array of options. I mean, most commonly my clients elect for cremation, but sometimes they have instructions beyond cremation, right? Maybe they want to be sprinkled in a certain ocean or other, body of water, or at Mount Rainier or other locations, or they want their ashes combined maybe with a spouse that predeceased them, or other preferences for the remains. But aside from cremation, we have options like burial. Here in Washington, we have composting. We have options for donation, like our UW, University of Washington, has options for donating your body in the Willed Body program. And so deciding what you'd want to have happen is really helps to give your family, or again, whoever you have named as being in charge of your estate, some direction, some peace of mind, right, over what it is that you want. At a time when they're already grieving the loss of a loved one, right? Now they have all these other issues that have arisen. They have to figure out, your finances, and if you have a house, and dealing with various assets and other family members and memorial services, right? And so if we can help by giving them some direction as far as, what you want to have done. And aside from just your directive for remains, I mean, your will or your trust, your power of attorneys, your directives, like having all these things in place, especially please if you have minor children. We want to make sure that they are protected as well by having an estate plan. It does not have to be complex. It can be something simple, but we need to have a plan in place. I tell my clients all the time that having a well thought out estate plan is one of the best gifts you can leave to your family, to your loved one. Giving them guidance to know what you want, what your instructions are, what your assets are, what goes to who, instead of leaving them trying to figure out what everything is and where things should go. And, a lot of times I'll have families come to me when someone's passed away and they don't know where the person banked. They don't know if the person had investments. They don't know if there's a life insurance policy. They don't know if there's retirement plans. And so they're stuck trying to piecemeal all these things together by going through old, records and old tax returns and old statements. And a lot of these things don't even come by mail anymore. It's in your email inbox and they don't have access to your email, right? And so if we can put together our estate plan, including our directives. And when we do estate plans, we prepare a binder for you where you can list out all these things, like where do you have assets, who are important contact people for your family to know, right? Because I can pull a credit report to find out what debt you have. There is no central database to find out what assets you have. So if there is no documentation of what the assets are, they could go unclaimed. They could possibly not go to your intended recipients. So it's so important that we have this plan together, that we have your directive for remains, that we have your will or your trust, that we have all these different pieces of a comprehensive estate plan. I know it can be a lot. I know it can be something that you don't want to really talk about. I know it can be uncomfortable, and you don't know me, right? And you're coming to my office, or we're doing it by phone or by Zoom, and you're telling me about your family and your assets and what do you want to have happen upon your death. And nobody wants to have that conversation. I understand that, but it's so important that we have it. And I've just seen it from the other side so many times when there's not a plan in place and the family's struggling to figure out what's the right decision, what should they do. And when it comes to your estate plan, if you don't have an estate plan in place, the state of Washington has one for you, and it may not be what you want it to be. So just keep that in mind. Do you want to decide what happens to your estate? Or do you want the state of Washington to decide for you? Do you want a probate court, a judge who doesn't know you, doesn't know your family, doesn't know your kids, doesn't know anything about, your family or personal wishes, to make decisions as far as who's in charge and who has the authority to act, and, defining who's going to receive your estate? The state will decide for you if you don't decide yourself. So let's make that decision for you. Let's allow you to make that decision. And whatever you decide now, if you want to change it in the future, you can do so. It's not set in stone forever. We at least need to start somewhere and get a plan in place. So if you have been putting this off, if you have been avoiding this conversation and getting an estate plan done and having to talk to an attorney, I try to make this as easy as possible, as simple as possible. I have a 5-step estate planning process. We have the consultation, I draft your documents, you've approved them, you sign them, I provide the notary, I provide the witnesses, and then I deliver your documents to you with the binder, with instructions for your family, important resources, everything you need for a comprehensive estate plan. So if that's something that's on your to-do list, and it's been on your to-do list maybe for some time and you want to get that done, give us a call. Our number is 206-408-8158, or visit us online. I'll have that link down below for you. And just a quick note that I am only licensed in Washington State. I would love to help everyone with their estate plans, but I cannot do so. So if you're not in Washington State, I would highly advise reach out to your state's bar association and get a referral for an attorney who's licensed in your state to help you. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.